In 2006, the song Valerie was released by the Zutons, reaching number 9 in the UK. The next year, a cover version was released by Amy Winehouse and Mark Ronson, this time climbing to number 2 in the charts. The song quickly went on to become embedded in British culture, a staple of live bands and pub jukeboxes all across the UK. And now, 20 years on from its release, the song Valerie has become one of the newest, timeless British classics.
Now it's just this, like you're walking down the road and you hear our women singing it, you know, in pubs and that. And
Yeah.
when I was a kid and you're into like Guns N' Roses and Nirvana and all that, you don't think you're going to be writing like one of them songs that your auntie sings.
Forever.
Yeah.
Do you know
You
what I mean?
didn't
A standard.
like at the festivals, like when you can see like the women in the burger van and all that, and they all stop to sing it and like.
But who is Valerie? Who is the girl the song is about? Back in 2019, Vice.com found the real Valerie and wrote an article about her, confirming it with Dave McCabe, the original songwriter. And off the back of that, I was able to get in touch with her as well. We had a Zoom chat, and so today I'm proud to share the story of the song and to be able to introduce you all to the girl herself, the Valerie, the one the song was written about. So, Valerie Starr, welcome to my channel.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I can only speak from my experience in England, but I genuinely must have sung your song, the song Valerie, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I must have heard it tens of thousands of times.
I'm sure. I mean, it's kind of gone everywhere since its birth, I guess you should say, which is amazing and weird and surreal and awesome all in one.
In the Vice article, Valerie said, "A friend and I had gotten tickets to go and see a show in Florida, but the band we had wanted to go see actually called out last minute. I was like, oh crap, I don't want to go and see the opening band, but my friend Erin was like, Valerie, come on, we're already dressed up, we have the tickets, let's just go."
So, reluctantly, I was like, okay, fine. And we went to go see the show. And when the headliner came on, the Zutons, I was in awe. I was like, oh my God, these guys are amazing.
That's so cool. What year was this?
Oh God, 100 years ago, I think. Well, it was a year before the song was out.
I went through the Zutons gigography on Concert Archives, and there is only one gig in Tampa, Florida, around a year before, and it's this one. The Killers and the Zutons at the Masquerade in Tampa on November the 20th, 2004. The Vice article confirms that the next show was Jacksonville. That lines up, so this was definitely the gig. So Valerie's friend Erin convinced her to go to the gig even though the Killers had pulled out. And once she got there, she realised the Zutons were pretty cool. But she also realised that she very much liked the look of Dave McCabe, the frontman of the band. And then I heard Dave go on and I was like, this is amazing. They had such a unique sound and I hadn't heard anything like that before. Just the electricity they made on stage together as a band was just beautiful.
And then after they got done playing, I saw Dave come off the stage and I kind of just grabbed him and told him I was getting him a cocktail. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
In the Vice article, Valerie continued, "One drink turned into God knows how many. A lot. We didn't stay. We all went to another bar, and then another. And then we all went back to Erin's place and drank champagne on the rooftop until the sun came up. And that was our first meeting. After that first night, Dave said they were doing another show in Jacksonville, 4 hours away. So we went to Jacksonville, and it just kind of snowballed into this craziness. I would meet him in different cities. I'd fly out to see him. It was great. We had so much fun together." And so, following that gig in Tampa, Valerie and Dave had a kind of a whirlwind holiday romance together. So did you guys kind of become an item?
I mean, we had fun. We had fun together. And when he was in the States, I would go and fly and meet out with him. And Yeah, we had fun. But I mean, realistically, I lived in America. He lived in Liverpool, and that really doesn't make for anything feasible.
Eventually, however, plans were made for Valerie to fly out to the UK. But 1 week before she was due to leave, according to the Vice interview, disaster struck. Valerie says, I got arrested the week before I was going to go to Liverpool to be with him. It was my, I want to say, 7th felony, driving on a suspended licence. She was asked, why didn't you have a licence? And she replied, well, it was really stupid in the beginning. I got a speeding ticket and I thought the policemen were dumb, so I thought, well, by me not paying the ticket, that's me sticking it to the man. Clearly not, because they then put a warrant out for your arrest. It becomes a whole ordeal. And also, I might not have stopped immediately, which apparently is evading the police, and I might have spat on the officer because he was very rude. And that's assault.
Yeah, in the very beginning, we would talk on the phone, and, we were young and hot and ridiculous. And, we would, call each other and be like, oh, I wish I was there, da da da. And, he'd always be like, oh, you should come over. And I, of course, was like, sure, I'll come over and hang out. And then, of course, I necessarily wasn't the best driver, apparently, and got pulled over for maybe my 6th time or so of driving on a suspended. Yeah, they don't like that much. So I had to, got arrested, had to spend all of my money to not go to jail. So I would be on the phone with Dave and I'd be like, it's going to be a little bit longer. Like, I just have to deal with this legal stuff. And, that just kept on going on. And that's kind of how it all started.
Valerie had been caught for the 6th or 7th time driving on a suspended licence and was arrested. It now looked like she was in pretty serious legal trouble, so her and Dave's plans to get together in Liverpool all of a sudden were starting to look increasingly impossible. It was in that time, kind of in limbo, just not knowing what was going on, that Dave McCabe was sat in the back of a cab in Liverpool, and the song just came to him about him, Valerie, and the strange situation they were in. In an interview with The Scotsman, he said, I could tell you I was inspired by gazing out across the Mersey or walking past Macca's old house, but the truth is I got the idea in a cab on the way to my mum's. The whole song was written before I got there, so 20 minutes max. She was in the States and I was home, and it was kind of like a postcard, he said wistfully. The Vice interviewer asked Valerie, were you guys still doing the long distance thing? She replied, yeah, because I had all these delusional thoughts that I was going to walk away scot-free without spending a cent. I was like, yeah, I'll be there really soon, and that just never transpired.
Since I've come home, where the body's been a mess, I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress.
And I've missed your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? So that was Dave saying, come to Liverpool, come for a visit. Yeah. And you couldn't because you'd fallen foul of the law for driving on a suspended licence.
And yeah, I kept on telling him like, oh, it's going to be a little longer. It's going to be a little longer. But, I couldn't leave the state, let alone the country, while I was dealing with the courts during that time. So, yeah.
So I spent every penny I had, which was like 30 grand, to not go to prison.
Did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale? Did you get a good liar?
I have to ask you, did you have to go to jail?
I got arrested and then I got bailed out. So I was really only, it's not technically jail per se. It is a jail, but I was only in there for like a day each time.
Right. So because basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to ask you directly the questions in the song.
Oh, please do.
And see what the actual answers are.
Yeah.
Because this is like completely surreal and cool. So I'm going to. So, did you have to put your house on up for sale?
No, but I did have to spend every cent that I had saved to not go to jail. So same kind of thing, I guess, you know.
So you did get a good lawyer then?
I did. It cost me an arm and a leg, but I did get a good lawyer.
Did you have to pay that fine you were dodging all the time? Did you get out of the fine?
Oh no, I had to pay it. I had to pay like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Fast forward about 9 months and I'd gotten out of my legal trouble at that point, but I was poor again. And it's not like I could just uproot my life and go to Liverpool with absolutely no money. So I stuck it out in Florida and saved up to move to New York because at that point I was like, Valerie, let's weigh your real, feasible options. That's around when he told me he wrote the song. The record label loved it and they're making it the new single. How did you discover he'd written a song about you?
Well, he told me, you know, we were on the phone and he's like, you know, he was very aloof about it. He was like, so, well, you know, we got this new album coming out and I kind of wrote this one song and it's named Valerie. And I'm like, what? You know, and he just wouldn't really tell me much about it. And, you know, of course, like my mind goes to like, oh, dear God, what did he have to say about me? You know, because it could be quite interesting. Yeah, he wouldn't really reveal any of the details to it. So when he came back to the States, I went to Texas to South by Southwest to meet up. And that's when they played it for the first time. And I remember like standing in the back with like one of the like record executives when they played it. And he looks over at me and he's just like, what did you think? And I was just, you know, jaw dropped. It was amazing. It was so good. It was so good.
The Valerie story ended not with a Hollywood fairy tale ending, but with a real world happy ending nonetheless. Dave got married, started a family and settled down, and Valerie, who could now no longer drive, moved to New York City, where she became a successful makeup artist to celebrities and the stars. That's brilliant. Are you guys still in touch now?
Not really. I mean, you know, like we'll say our hellos here and there. You know, he's married, settled down with a kid, which I'm so happy for him, you know.
Yeah, you're still buds though.
Of course, of course. I mean, you know, he's always going to be this really weird part of my life.
On any given weekend in the UK, that song is probably played on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday hundreds of times, weekend after weekend. And that song is about you. What does that feel like?
It's strange, but amazing. I mean, I remember when I first heard it, I was in awe, you know, because it's a song about me, you know, which is insane. It's a weird kind of funny feeling. I will say I did take it off of my playlist on my music because it would come on the most inopportune times and I'd feel a little narcissistic or something.
The song when it came out was, you know, amazing. But of course, the thing that really sent it into the stratosphere
Was Amy.
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
When did you find out about that and how did you feel when you heard that version?
David told me, you know, and yeah, when I heard it, I mean, she put such a different flavor on it, which was amazing. And, you know, just to see how far that song has come because of her is brilliant.
What's your favorite one, Zutons or Amy?
I mean, I like them both for different reasons, you know, I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're two separate entities.
I was lucky enough to hear the Zutons live a few years back up in Stockton. And if you haven't seen the band yet, I very much recommend it. I've put links to Valerie's website in the description as well, so if you'd like to find out more about her and her business as well as her art, you can do so there. And so, now you know the real story and the real face behind the song. And you also know the answer to that question in the refrain. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Because she got fined $30,000 for driving on a suspended licence 6 or 7 times, fleeing the police, and spitting on a copper. As rock and roll stories go, that's a pretty good one. So if people wanted to find out more about you and what you do, where are you on the socials and what's your website?
On socials, I'm The Valerie Star and The Valerie Star Art because I'm also a painter. my website's The Valerie Star. It's pretty simple. And yeah, that leads you to all of my other platforms.
Valerie, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real privilege to talk to you.
I was such a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see it.
If you'd like to see the full-length extended interview with Valerie, that has already been made available to supporters on my Patreon. The link is down in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you next time.